Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining me. If you will, like, share, comment on the post, and then jump back with me to the book of Acts, chapter 17, or 28, verse 17. I'll get it right here in just a moment. And I'm going to read, we're going to look at about 6 verses today, verse 17, all the way down to verse 22. And for time, I'm not going to read all of it, but basically what it says is that Paul called together, asked for the local leaders, the Jewish leaders in Rome, to come together and to talk to them. And what Paul wanted to do was to explain his side of the story. And he tells them that I have done nothing wrong. I haven't spoken bad of Israel or Jews, but I was arrested and I have been brought here as a prisoner. And so they wanted to turn me loose, but because there's no reason for me to be put to death. But the Jews complained, and because of that, I appealed to Caesar. And so here I am. And now I have asked for the opportunity to speak to you and to simply to give you my side of the story and tell you that the only thing that I have done, the only thing I am guilty of is that I have been preaching the hope of Israel, the hope of all mankind, and that is the resurrection. And so and they responded, we don't know what you're talking about. We haven't heard anything. Nobody has sent us a letter about you or anything, but we do want to hear what you have to say because we have heard a great deal about, they say, this sect or about Christianity. We want a better understanding of what's going on, and we want to hear about it. And that's an interesting position that the Jews were even willing, were in a position where they were even willing to listen to Paul and to his side. Those back in Jerusalem really didn't even want to hear from him. And so we see a couple good examples, and Paul is certainly, and I'd be afraid to guess how many times I've said this as we've come through this, the example of Paul. Look at how Paul handled things, and let's use Paul as an example. Here's another example from Paul. Paul continues, even in these circumstances, to be dedicated to the message. He's not preparing his defense before the Romans. He's continuing to tell people about the gospel, continuing to carry out his ministry, his mission that God has given him, and continue to show love for his people, for his nation, no matter how badly he had been treated, no matter what they had done to him. He is continuing to speak the truth. But the other thing that jumps out at me about this that I want to show you, and I'm not really showing you, it's not like I've uncovered something, it's there, that these people say, yeah, we want to hear. We'd like to hear about this. We'd like to hear more about Christianity. We'd like to hear about this sect, as they call it. They don't know much about it, but they are willing to listen. I'd like to suggest to you today, and it kind of flies against what a lot of people think, and even in the church today. I think you'd be surprised at how many people actually do want to hear about Christ. They want to hear the message of the gospel. They want to know exactly what it is that we do. People have heard all kinds of things, have all kinds of beliefs. The church is handling snakes, or who knows what to do. Who knows what those crazy people do in there. Again, many people today, many people in the church today are older. That's just a true statistic of the Church of Jesus Christ today. But they were raised in church. A lot of younger people today don't know what goes on inside our four walls. They have no clue. And I think they are curious. But here's the catch. They want to hear somebody tell them about Christ. They want to hear somebody tell them about Christianity, about salvation, who is actually living, who has shown love, who has shown compassion. I saw a church sign one time that I will never I hope I never forget it. It says, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And I think people, just like these Jewish leaders who say, yeah, we want to know more about this Christianity thing. I think you'd be surprised at the number of your coworkers and neighbors and friends who want to know more about Christianity, but they want to hear it from somebody who is truly living it. You can't go out and run wild and party and drink and just live like a dog and then try to tell them about Jesus. Your life has to back it up first. And then those that are curious will listen to us. They'll give us an audience so that we can tell them about Jesus. I want to leave you with that thought this morning. I ask you to examine yourself. Look in the mirror. I can't do it for you. It's not my job. But am I living a life that gives me the right, gives me an audience with my family, my coworkers, to tell them about Jesus? And do I have I earned that privilege to be able to tell them to give their heart to Christ? I believe they're curious. I believe they'd like to know. They just want to see it and hear it from somebody who is a genuine follower of Christ themselves. Have a good one. We'll see you here tomorrow.